Good morning, One Piece fans and merch hunters, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to say thank you all for the recent channel love. I think I got a couple more subscribers again, so everyone, welcome to the channel. And if you're finding this channel for the first time, welcome aboard. So, today I want to do something a little bit different. I don't really have a lot of merch to show off in this case. This is more so a One Piece concepts type episode, focusing on the weaponry of the world of One Piece. So for episode 1, I want to highlight the Cat Claw Gauntlet. Honestly, I'll just shorten it for now for the Claw Gauntlet, and you'll see why pretty soon into the video. So this weapon was first shown in Syrup Village, used by Captain Kuro and his 2 thuggish goons. Then again it was shown in Marineford via the Duval brothers. They were allies of the Whitebeard pirates. Finally, again in the New World, Carrot is shown using it. She is a rabbit mink that uses it to further complement her mink abilities. It was given to her by Pedro because she couldn't really wield a sword that well. So why am I highlighting this weapon exactly? This gauntlet, seemingly not the best weapon. It doesn't have the best track record, as we've only seen the Duval brothers and Carrot be successful with it. However, I've long believed in the world of One Piece that things like additional weaponry such as swords, guns, animals, ships, and devil fruits need to be used in tandem with a need to be used in tandem in a captain's arsenal to be considered a singular threat. What I mean here is take Blackbeard and Boa Hancock, for example. They both have devil fruit mastery, and we're not even talking about Blackbeard's second devil fruit. Just focus on the one for now. The Yami Yami no Mi and Boa Hancock's Love fruit. I think the Mero Mero no Mi. So both of these 2 fruits are near unstoppable in their hands. Let's be real. You go one-on-one with Boa. If you're attracted to her, you are turned to stone. That's kind of the end of the fight for your dumbass. And then again, look at Blackbeard. If you have a nice, good devil fruit, you've been practicing your whole life with it, you think you're some real hot shit, your name is Pork Ass the Ace, and you go right up to Blackbeard and you punch that palm of his, or even worse, you get in range of his black hole to suck you up so he can grab you and touch you with that palm of his, guess what? Your devil fruit is useless now, and if you're like Ace and you're not used to being hit, you're gonna get the crap knocked out of you. And that's what happened to him. That's what made him a singular threat in that moment. Ace was not. He didn't have it all. And that's exactly what I'm highlighting now. They might not have had a gauntlet on their hand, but what they had was every piece of the puzzle to be successful. The devil fruit, the haki, the weaponry. You need all 3. Kaido once said recently that haki determines all, and that may be true, but there are other things now in this world of One Piece that will matter with the final war coming up, and that is why I have chosen my first weapon of the world of One Piece to highlight to be the Cat Claw Gauntlet. So let's get back to the gauntlet itself. Tekken 101 once stated that Captain Kuro probably used a rudimentary form of Rokushiki, or the 6 powers, when he was using his cat claw step. And in my opinion, he is probably right. Oda has long been playing with the concepts such as haki and the 6 powers early on in One Piece. We can see it as far back as Zoro versus Mr. One in Alabasta, when Zoro said he could quote-unquote hear the breathing of the steel, and he knew exactly where to cut Mr. One after that moment. That was somewhat of an awakening of Zoro's talent, but not in the level of a devil fruit user's awakening, but exactly like Usopp's haki awakening in Dressrosa. So, what about Captain Kuro and this weapon made him so successful? Well, despite having 2 thuggish goons that probably weren't nearly as talented, and I don't even think they had the same type of weapon, I think they just had smaller cat claw gauntlets backed up with martial arts. What made him so successful is that these weapons allowed him a wide slashing distance. With his underdeveloped version of the 6 powers, and most likely an even more underdeveloped version of observation haki, he was probably the biggest threat in whatever small area of the East Blue he decided to keep his head under. I highly doubt he was successful in the Grand Line. And if he was, he got out of there quick. Because if I'm correct, I think he let a body double of his take his place and get captured by Axarm Morgan. I could be wrong, but I do remember that happened. But, like I said, so I can't say it for sure, but it does seem to me like he was using shave, airwalk, and maybe even finger pistol all at the same time, because, you know, not everyone can just pierce a rock with swords, let alone 5 swords in a cat claw hand. You know what I mean? It's just not working. His own men even had the 2 weapons, and then even further, they had Django, who had the ability to hypnotize people, and he even also used a semi-close range weapon, the chakram. Like I said, this probably just contributed to easy success against weak people. Weak people who don't have the means to protect themselves with a sword, a pirate crew, hockey, or a devil fruit, they're gonna get eaten alive by 2 underpants wearing goons with cat claw weapons. However, as we saw with Captain Kuro later on in his own fight with Luffy, his untrained powers were too bad. They were not useful enough to stop someone on the level of Luffy, who had a devil fruit and had been training with his devil fruit for quite a while. And honestly, let's be real, Luffy's probably had hockey his whole damn life since he got his ass beat by the Blue Jam Pirates. That's just, I don't want to argue that on this video. Let's be real. The first thing Luffy did when Kuro started doing that cat claw stuff was say something about having composure and then bitch slapping him with a backwards fist. It was amazing. So again, why have I brought this weapon up to be highlighted? Well, personally, I think that in the New World, especially after seeing Marineford and the Duval brothers use them to, I think they fought, Dalmatian. I've always thought that those hand claws are used to replicate combat by Zoan devil fruit users. We saw a perfect version of that right then and there. Not only that, but actually be used to replicate combat by the minks. All the members of the Gauntlet gang use martial arts to back up usage of the close quarters combat weapon. And the minks personally use martial arts a lot. I want to say they are born with innate knowledge of martial arts and further train it with their electro to go crazy on people who would try to invade Zoe. So I think this weapon itself is used to make up for a lack of critical power. Like I've been saying, it's for a lack of hockey, it's for a lack of devil fruit, it's for a lack of practical weapon training. This is for someone who has to go all out at all times. This actually might even lead to the development of hockey in weaker individuals. So let's skip forward to Pedro's training. So when he was training Carrot, he basically stopped Shishilian from bullying her because he wasn't really bullying her, but he was pushing her way too hard with a weapon she had no skill with. So he immediately stepped in and took her under his wing, so to speak. He grabbed the gauntlet or had it made specially for her, and this weapon is practically unbreakable. I mean, it was strong enough to stop Zoro in his tracks. Because remember, Carrot is one of the few people to give Zoro a run for his money and not get a clapback for it. Compare this to just about every other case of the cat claw gauntlet being used, or I guess you could say a rabbit paw gauntlet, cat claw, or even crappy crab hand gyros case. Just about every other case of someone using a hand weapon hasn't been shown on the level of success that Carrot has had, or a mink, any other mink for that matter. However, you can bring up the fishmen, such as Arlong tearing out their own teeth to make a tooth castanet of doom, you could say. And I mean, he messed Luffy up pretty hard, but however, his dumbass let Luffy get a hold of his own teeth too, and as you could see, this is exactly my point. To replicate combat of the minks, or I guess in this case, the fishmen. Because once Luffy evened the playing field, he was biting Arlong too. Arlong stopped playing around, and I think that's when he just jumped inside of the Arlong Park, like the tower thing, to go get that big ass jagged sword of his. But enough about Arlong getting clapped by Luffy. Back to Carrot. Carrot's success is because she is functionally able to channel her Electro through her claws. Not only that, but when equipped with the Rabbit Paw Gauntlet, in her case, it looked like it made her Electro brighter, if not, not brighter, like the voltage looked like it got higher, which, that's amazing. You could see her standing on ground with the likes of Big Mom and Kaido's army with the use of this weapon and the training of Pedro at her back. In case of minks and fishmen, weaponizing their bodies is similar to hockey, but crazier because I do believe both races can learn hockey. The humans using these weapons and replicating the combat is just, I want to say a natural evolution of the human experience in the One Piece world. And what I mean is, whereas a fishman or a mink is born with the ability to kick ass innately, especially that of a human has to work just a little bit harder to get hockey, to get a devil fruit, to find Arlong's teeth lying around and weaponize them, to find someone smart enough to fashion 10 swords into a feline's paw and take over Syrup Village. These are the things that people are doing to put themselves on the level of a devil fruit user, of a captain with 3 guns, of a captain with the ability to control a seemingly hockey-wielding snake at her disposal while she cracks you and turns you to stone because you were simping over her. We can even see in earlier examples, look at Axar Morgan. He might have suffered injuries, or he might have augmented himself to be more intimidating looking because maybe he found a mink one day, or maybe he just wasn't equipped to handle what it takes to go to the Grand Line, and he got pieced up maybe on the level of Krieg being tracked down by Mihawk. Kuro and Don Krieg and Axar Morgan, the 3 of these men are no average individual, yet they probably had little to no hockey. So because of this, they turned to armor in the case of Krieg, body augmentation in the case of Axar Morgan, and an abstract weapon in the case of Kuro, to mold themselves into people who resemble fearsome and unknown threats of the New World. Even Crab Hand Gyro resorted to trying to become more like a fishman because what? He was defeated at the hands of Hody. A final example of the usage of these would be the Duval brothers, like I've been saying, of the Whitebeard allies. They may or may not have had hockey, but to fully take on a fully trained Marine Vice Admiral in Dalmatian, who was also a Devil Fruit user. So this is a Devil Fruit user with the 6 powers and more than likely observation and armament hockey. And he had to go on the defensive against the Duval brothers because they came up there with the Hiya Cha 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 with karate and gauntlets, cat claw gauntlets. To be a human without hockey, Devil Fruit, or sea stone weaponry, marksmanship, anything that makes a person stronger will lead a person to become more than human. Even Frankie, my favorite One Piece character, my favorite Straw Hat next to Luffy, of course, Frankie followed this path, albeit in a robotic sense because his story ends a little cataclysmically getting hit by a sea train after his father figure gets murdered by the world government. Frankie had to turn to becoming more than human. He became something more. And looking at his body, the way it's built, his skin is hockey in a way. He might not have hockey, but he does not really need it in most of the time cases because his skin is already in Tekai, iron body. So, merch hunters, to conclude, what I'm trying to say is, for the final war, Luffy and the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, they're going to need weapons. They're going to need skill, hockey mastery, Devil Fruit mastery, all of it. All I'm saying is I want to see more cat claws, more crab hands, more mink action. I love it. The cat claw, the crab claw, axe arms, even Queen's robot arm, all enhance something either weak, broken, or lost. To a regular human arm and body, into the world of One Piece, you can't take shortcuts. A cat claw gauntlet is a secret weapon, but it is no definitive answer. This has been Merch Hunter Ricky, and thank you for listening to an episode of One Piece Concepts.